Welcome into another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and I'm joined as always by Chris Emerson. Chris, how we doing?
We're doing great, man. We're ready to start another series. I couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. And we're going to have the rest advantage on this one, which is nice, although it didn't really help out last time against the Golden State Warriors. The rest really turned into rust. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we get going, make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And we'll tell you about our sponsor, which is 612 Tees, a little later in the episode. So, Chris, let's just get your overall thoughts on a Wolves OKC matchup, and then we'll kind of jump into specifics.
It's going to be great. Obviously, it's going to be great. I mean, the guys that everyone likes to compare to Michael Jordan, to a guy who is eerily similar game-wise to Kobe Bryant, with his triple up fakes coming up. And I mean, there's a lot of mono versus mono shooting guard fun, scoring guard fun that's going to be there. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great series. That's my start, I would say.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a fun series. Let's go over a little history first before we get going here. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who used to be, as we know, the Seattle Supersonics, they have reached the Western Conference Finals 7 times, and they reached the NBA Finals in 1978, 79, 96, where they played, of course, Michael Jordan, and 2012. Their only championship was in 1979 against the Washington Bullets. And one more piece of history, the Wolves have played the Seattle Supersonics in the playoffs before. It was in 1998, and the game went to 5 games. It was in the first round, and the game was in Seattle. The Wolves actually had a 2-1 lead in that one. And this is crazy to me. I don't know if you saw me post this in the chat earlier, but I was looking at the stats from the game 5 in that series. Kevin Garnett went 3 for 11, had 7 points and 10 turnovers. And Stephon Marbury, now I know they're both young, but he had 7 points and 5 turnovers. Do you imagine if Ant and Randle did that in a deciding game? They would be roasted over the coals.
Yeah. I mean, those were young boys figuring it out, and they're going up against.
And they were young, for sure.
And elite people at the exact same position with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. That had to be. I mean, I'm sure I watched it. I mean, that was my era, so it was exciting. I'm guessing. I don't remember.
Right, and this is not me throwing shade at Kevin Garnett because he was young. Starberry was young. They were still figuring it out. And I mean, to take that Seattle team to 5 games isn't impressive as itself, but they just didn't perform. Anthony Peeler actually had 28 in that closing game. So just a little blast from the past there. So anyway, let's get in to some specifics of this series. Of course, the Wolves did play a much younger Oklahoma City team in the play-in 2 years ago. Was that 2 or 3 years ago? Man, time flies. But they beat them in the play-in pretty handily, but obviously different team, didn't have Chet Holmgren in the mix. The hometown boy, Chet Holmgren, coming home, playing the Wolves in his 3rd playoff series. He was talking about after the game, and he said he was pretty excited. I'm sure as loud as it will be with Wolves fans at Target Center, I'm sure there'll be some huge cheers for the Minnehaha Academy boy as well.
There should be. I mean, he's a great player. He represented Minnesota well, and good for him. It's going to be fun to see because, especially with him, Rudy Gobert, I don't know if you remember, he seems to have some sort of extra energy when it comes to playing against Chet. I don't know if it's just the future big, long guy, he was the current big, long guy. But, I mean, he's taken it personal against Chet multiple games that we've played him. So that's going to be fun to watch if that continues.
Right. And I think a big thing from this series is going to be taking care of the ball, because honestly, OKC, they haven't done anything super special so
No.
far in these playoffs. What they have done, this is what Oklahoma City has done well. They've shot a lot of threes. They haven't made a lot of them. They're only shooting 31% from three so far this playoffs. And in fact, their big three last series, Shea shot 33%, Jalen Williams shot 23%, and Chet Holmgren shot 22% from three, and they beat the Nuggets. So what the Oklahoma City Thunder do well is the offensive rebound. They're one of the top offensive rebounding teams so far in these playoffs, which has attributed to them shooting almost 10 more shots per game than the Timberwolves. That's a huge stat there. And also taking care of the ball as well. The Thunder do not turn over the ball. They average a best in the playoffs, 10.9 turnovers a game. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves are at about 15. So that's almost 5 more turnovers than the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they've been good at that all year. So it's going to be important taking care of the ball. I mean, we won game 5 against the Warriors because we shot the ball well, not because we took advantage of taking care of the ball. We had 21 turnovers, and that's not going to fly against OKC.
Yeah, if you have the stats up, where are OKC at creating turnovers, like getting steals or turnovers?
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be tough. They've got a lot of guys that like to get their hands in the passing lane. And they have a lot of like young wings that are athletic, and they're 3-and-D. I guess not all young. You've got like Wallace and Caruso and Dort. And I mean, there's another one I'm forgetting. I mean, they've got just a pile of these guys. And I think our advantage is something that you said earlier, callback, is saying we're going to have more rest. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's been doing a lot of heavy lifting this playoff series for them. And, he's playing 38 minutes, 40 minutes, like multiple games. I think if we can make him be like the scorer and try to hold these others down, like you mentioned, they're not shooting great to begin with, so don't let them get hot. We might be able to just smother them with just, letting Shai get 40 and the rest of the guys combined for 40, and I think that might be the way to go.
So your question about how much they cause other teams to turn over. They have the best turnover ratio in the playoffs at 10.7. So
and that's their trick, because they want to get out and they want to get out moving. They want to get those long, lean bigs moving. So that's what we're gonna have to be careful with. And I hope that Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle both, when they drive, they're going to have to look out that guys are going to be reaching in all the time, like looking for that ball all the time. So we'll notice right away if they're getting those strips and turnovers, because, it could get ugly.
Right. To add to that, and this is for the regular season, but leading team steals per game at 10. So 10 steals per game in the regular season. Yeah, taking care of the ball is going to be paramount. Let's take a quick segue here and talk about today's sponsor, 612 Tees. They are a great local company making awesome shirts. In fact, I wanted to show you these new ones here that you can go and check out. It's 612 Tees. We got this one here that I thought was unique. I know you're not a big fan of the trees, but still, I thought that was pretty cool. A-Rod and Lori crossing. What is it, Potomac, or is it the Delaware?
I think you got it.
Yeah, is it Potomac or Delaware? I'm not a history buff. Also, they got this new Julius Randle one that you can get. Ooh. I love that. I love that one. It looks clean. They have it in other colors as well. And then, of course, they have this Nas shirt as well, the 1-800-NAS-READ. I've seen a lot of buzz around that one as well. Tons of great shirts. Check them out, 612 Tees. The link is in the description. And if you use promo code RUN30, that's RUN30 at checkout, you'll get 30% off your first purchase. Thanks so much to 612 Tees. Anyway, let's get back into talking about your Minnesota Timberwolves. And I don't know. I just think for the Wolves, this is just their next step. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is the next step in the progression. And let's talk about this. Could you have imagined the Wolves being here at this time when they were floundering midseason and people were trade Randle, get rid of Randle. He doesn't have anything. The trade was a mistake. I mean, look where we are now.
Well, I mean, as you know, and if you listen to this podcast, we've been saying the whole year, just give me to April. Like,
Right.
I said it in, I think it was December. I know I was saying it. It's not, the team got put together the day before the first preseason basketball game. Literally, the trade was the day before. Get me to April. Let us be playing well in April, and we'll see what happens.
Right.
I believed in the pieces because we needed what Tim Connolly has done a great job of since he's been here is understanding what we lack in the very next offseason, going out of his way to fill that need in dramatic fashion. I mean,
Right.
we lacked rebounding, we lacked defensive like presence, and we lacked like consistency. We get Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley. We lack a second we lacked a guy who could create or get his own bucket off the dribble who was impactful. The next year we get Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo and Dillingham, who's filling that need in theory, but just down the line. Like, I think we're building in the right direction. We had the pieces. It just has to work had to work its way through. And we're still not great right now. Like, we still haven't been playing well. So
no,
we still have to play quite a bit better, but I believe in the pieces. So when we get to our 95 percentile potential or 100% potential, if we can hit that this year, which you'll need to win the championship, I think the pieces are correct.
Right. And this all comes down really on the defensive end of the ball. I've listened to a lot of post-game press conferences with different players, and even Anthony Edwards, all of them say the first thing they say, what went well tonight, if the game went well, is defense. They always bring up defense. And I found this stat here. The Wolves so far this postseason have a 106.9 defensive rating, which is better than their 108.4 defensive rating last season and better than their defensive rating in the playoffs last year of 110.9. Now, obviously, that defensive rating in the playoffs included the Western Conference Finals, so that could sway things back or forth. But, I mean, it's got to start with defense, not fouling, not giving the Oklahoma City Thunder 1,000 free throws, keeping your hands back, not playing aggressive, but not playing overly aggressive, and not baiting to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's foul baiting as well.
Right. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how we attack that, because it is what he's going to do. I assume we're going to put Jaden on him and just let Jaden shadow him. That's what Fitch tends to do. I think if we do that, let Jaden just take him one-on-one if he can stay out of foul trouble and stay home with everyone else, because no one else has been really doing well for them. Keep that happening. And then, rebound. They've got two guys that are, almost averaging 10 rebounds a game right now in the playoffs. Both of them, I think, are like at 9, in Hartenstein and Holmgren. Like you said earlier, let them be a one shot and done offense. And I think we've got a great shot of winning pretty handily in this series.
Right. And it's interesting that the NBA, what they get in the Western Conference Finals coming out of the West this year, are one medium market team. I'm looking at the market size ratings, and maybe this one's a little old, but at least in 2022, the Wolves were 13th in market size, and the Oklahoma City Thunder were 26 in market size. So two smaller teams here. I wonder, let's say we get a Timberwolves Pacers final or OKC and Pacers final. I wonder if the NBA will do everything they can to change course the next year, because the MLB 2 years ago had, I think it was the lowest watched World Series ever, where I think it was like the Arizona Diamondbacks and I forget who else, but it was some mid-major
St.
team.
Louis.
Yeah, something like that. And then the next year they course corrected with LA versus New York. So I wonder.
I don't think it's 100%. It's not a 0% chance that the NBA controls that. Like it's not zero. So yeah, it's a good year to be in the West if you want to win as a team that normally you would think the storybook writers would not allow. And it's crazy just to think about our division. I was thinking about this the other day. The last 3 teams standing are all this. I mean, we've played each other a million times. Us,
Right.
OKC, and Denver. Like, talk about iron sharpening iron, or whatever you say. Like,
Right.
it's these teams know each other well. I know Dante. I think Randle hasn't played very much, so that's kind of would be an interesting.
So here's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Because remember, when we played Oklahoma City, we played them like 3 out of 4 games. Now there was the trade deadline or I think the All-Star break in between, but 3 out of our 4 games were against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those games did not include Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, or Julius Randle.
Yeah. I mean, so all their tape doesn't matter. Like every
Right.
bit of tape they have on us is pointless. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. I just can't wait. I really think that now the rest to rust thing is a very real possibility again. I like
Right.
the fact that we're starting on the road. I think
I
that's
like that too.
by far the best for our team. Because then there's no pressure really on you. So that's awesome. And I think that our rest is going to be a advantage. I think it's really going to be an advantage, especially if it goes, 6-7 games. So
Right.
let's keep
Although-
running these guys.
I will say I do think it's going to be a little bit different than the Golden State series when it comes to rest. And here's why: because Oklahoma City is one of the youngest teams in the NBA. So I mean, they're young. They're not that far away from, like we mentioned, AAU culture where you play every day, everywhere, anyway. Which I mean, obviously the NBA is different than AAU. But
Right.
I do think that playing game after game after game won't affect them as much as it would, let's say, a banged up LeBron, a banged up Luka, maybe a Draymond Green or a Jimmy Butler, if you know what I'm saying.
For sure.
And I definitely agree with you. I like that we're on the road as well. I like that we are the underdogs in the series because we seem to play well. Obviously, last year we were the favorites against the Dallas Mavericks and didn't come out on top on that one. But if we could go out and steal maybe 1 or 2 games in Oklahoma City, that'll set us up pretty nice.
I mean, I think we're gonna be able to do that. I would be
at least one.
Yeah, I would be shocked if we don't come out with one. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we take them both. Like, we need our other guys to play better. That's it. And it's not like they can't. Like, we're not asking for guys that haven't played well or haven't had like playoff like success in the past or anything like that to step up and have like some miraculous change of events. But like Dante DiVincenzo, for example, is the second coldest shooter in the playoffs right now. Like, out of any team that has players left, and this was before Denver was knocked out. Like, points per shot, he's the second worst. Nickeil Alexander is the third worst. And those guys are shooters. And those are guys I trust as shooters. So it's going to come around, but it has to. It has to. Nas needs to keep shooting the way he is and just do more of it. And I think we're going to be there. And I think it's a chance we're going to really, really shine. It's just guys like that need to step up.
Right. And you're mentioning the Wolves bench, which we always tout as, oh, what a great bench. What a great bench.
Yeah.
26.7 points per game on 40% shooting, 32% from 3. That's not going to cut it, particularly OKC's bench. Now, this doesn't include today's game, which I'm sure probably raised it up because they killed Denver. OKC's bench is shooting at 41% from three so far these playoffs. So like you mentioned, the other guys need to step up. And here's what I want to mention. I mentioned it in the podcast I did solo, I think on Thursday. As great as Anthony Edwards and particularly Julius Randle have played so far this playoffs, they will ultimately be judged on how they play going forward. And the reason I say that is because look at Karl Anthony Towns. He was not perfect, but he was pretty good the first two rounds, right? Like we could say he was decent the first two rounds, at least statistically wise. But a big knock on Cats and a lot of people. Now, I think it was for salary issues and fit, but a big knock on Karl Anthony Towns was how he played in the Western Conference Finals. He played great game 4, but other than that, he was basically non-existent and not hitting shots. So I'm not saying that Julius Randle is going to play bad or anything. I hope he plays great. I hope this is the renaissance of Julius Randle and he keeps playing the best ball that he has played in his career. I'm just saying it's a clean slate now. What you've done is in the past. You got to perform on the biggest level, and that includes into the finals as well. And that's just not Randle. That's DiVincenzo. That's Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's Naz Reid. That's the entire team as well.
Anthony Edwards. I mean, this is Anthony Edwards' team, and we're only going to go as far as he'll take us. And, you know, I've said this years past, and even now, I said, for this team to win a title, Anthony Edwards is going to have to be playing like he's an MVP. Mm-hmm. Julius Randle is going to be having to give us 20 points and like 8 rebounds a game consistently. And we're going to have, you know, Naz Reid playing like the 6th man of the year. Like all those things are going to have to be happening at the same time. Rudy Gobert is going to have to be making an impact. Like it sounds greedy to say we need all of that, but that's what you need if you're going to win a title. So like if those guys aren't doing, and that's just baseline stuff, like that needs to be happening. And then other guys like Jaden McDaniels has to have a splash game where he gives us 15 plus points, you know, like Nickeil Alexander, you know, Dante needs to give us 20 some game. Like these things still have to happen. So we're going to have to step our game up quite a bit. And I think we're ready for it, but you know, it's not like those first couple of series have been the hardest tests. So we've kind of got by not having to be playing our best. I hope that doesn't mean that we can't turn that switch back on.
Right. And that's the thing. Like last year, right. So we sweep the Suns in game 1 or in the first round. Then we have a grueling series against the Denver Nuggets where, you know, it was the Mavs who had a little time to wait around and game plan for either team. So it's going to be a difference. And I mean, we've been off since Wednesday night, I think we've been off.
I wish this game 7 would have ended in a fairly dramatic way because I know when that happened to us last year, when we beat Denver and it was dramatic and it was a game 7, there was so much energy and everybody was saying the Timberwolves are going to win it all. You know, they're the team of destiny. And we had all this hype and energy coming. And then it's kind of an energy dump when you go to the next series because you were so high off of that win. Especially when that team was prepared and planning and locked in. That's what it feels like we are this year. We're the team that's like, oh, we're only halfway done. We're the team that's probably been scouting these teams a lot harder than they have us. These last couple weeks or last couple days, at least our training staff, we're the team that's going to be prepared and rested and, you know, ready to play a game. And hopefully they're the team that just is going to get off an emotional dump of a game 7 win. And hopefully, you know, have a stumble game 1 and give us an advantage right off the bat.
So quick trivia. Can you name the only team to win an NBA Finals as a 6th seed?
To win a final, is it the Lakers?
No, it is not. So, it is in the West. It is a Western team. Would it help if I gave you the year?
Yeah, sure.
1995.
Okay, so I would is it the Rockets?
It is the Rockets, the Houston Rockets, the Kenny Smith, Akeem Olajuwon, Houston, Sam Cassell. Sam Cassell was on that team.
Robert Ory. Yep.
Robert Ory as
Otis
well.
Thorpe. I remember that. I loved that team
Mhm.
because Cassell and Ori were these young guys. Ori specifically was this 3-point shooting wing that was like this like you hadn't seen this guy that could shoot and play defense and was that long. It was like this cool new thing in NBA, which is
Mhm.
now, every team has 5 of. So it's pretty
Right.
fun.
In fact, this is just some random trivia here, but the Houston Rockets are the only team to make it to the NBA Finals as a 6 seed, and they've done it twice. 1981, they also made it to the NBA Finals as a 6 seed, lost, I think, to the Boston Celtics. But let's be honest, in the 80s, everyone lost to the Celtics
Boston
or Lakers.
Celtics.
So, I mean,
And soon, maybe everyone's going to be losing to the Timberwolves. I mean,
absolutely.
again, we're not playing our best, and we're four wins away from the NBA Finals. So it's an exciting time to be a Timberwolves fan. And if you haven't been watching, lock in because you got a hell of a ride watching this young Anthony Edwards kid do what he does.
Right. So I imagine how it's going to go. Would you say that Chet's going to guard Randall, or do you think they'll put Harkenstein on him and put Chet on Rudy? What do you think?
I would. So Williams is known to be able to he's a quick hand. So you want him digging down. I would put Chet on Randall and just have him be tall, and just slow him down. And I'd keep Harkenstein to try to body Rudy off the glass. But what Randall's going to have to look for is he likes to do that spin, and he likes to put the ball on the floor in the paint. And this OKC team, every time you do that, there's going to be 3 or 4 hands reaching for it. So I don't know if that's going to work. That's the very first thing I'm going to keep my eyes out for is how many times they're getting our hands on dribbles in the paint that we're doing, either Anthony Edwards or Julius Randle.
Right. For sure. Like I said, the turnover battle is huge. That's what's going to be huge. Offensive rebounding's going to be huge as well. Hopefully Julius Randle will play like he's been playing. It's going to be a different bat. I mean, you got Alex Caruso too, who's just an absolute menace. I mean, you look at the stat line and you say, oh man, the Chicago Bulls won that Josh Giddey trade as he's putting up triple doubles and stuff. But just the little things that Alex Caruso does is a huge factor in this series. I mean, heck, I was watching the Nuggets game. They were putting Alex Caruso on Jokic and just pestering him almost a la what teams used to do on Cat. Now, I think Cat has gotten better at.
No, they're doing the same thing. They're putting Holiday on Cat again.
Right. Well, I remember there was a Celtics game that I went to. The Wolves ended up winning, but Cat only had like 7 points, and Holiday was on him the whole time, and they shut him down.
Yep.
So anyway, go ahead.
This OKC team, like you're saying, it's not luck. Like a lot of times that turnover thing is like, oh, we were just sloppy or like the ball bounced the wrong way. No, OKC, this is a practice thing they do. This is part of their system. They're going to get these turnovers because they're putting you in a spot where they get those turnovers. Like it's part of their game plan. So we're going to have to really go over and above to not fall into that trap.
Right. And the last thing I'll say on this is I just love how this series, it's new blood, right? It's new teams. Now I know we made the Western Conference Finals last year, but it's the new era. I mean, it's not LeBron. It's not even Tatum. Tatum's been around a while in the finals last year. There's no Kevin Durant. There's none of the young blood. I mean, the best 4 players on these teams in the Western and Eastern Conference Finals are all young guys. Halliburton, you got Brunson, and then who am I missing? And then you got Shea. Yeah, I mean it's a new NBA. It's the new crop of NBA, and you love to see it.
I hope they go 7 games, 6 or 7 games. I hope they're nail biters, and I hope the NBA flourishes, and the common viewer finds new stars, that they fall in love with. Kids do. Like that's always what I hope for these types of series, um, because when it comes down to it, it's about entertainment, and I hope they're fun.
Right, absolutely. So we got to get into it. Prediction for the series: who and how many games?
I'm gonna go with a Gabe classic. Wolves in 6.
Wolves
Uh,
and 6.
I think it's like I almost feel like it's a passive aggressive Wolves in 5, like a Minnesota nice Wolves in 5, because you give
Okay.
them an extra game.
So,
Um,
okay.
uh, you know, I'm gonna go Wolves in 5. I think the rest is gonna help us. I think that Shea's gonna be too tired to like carry the load as much as he has. I think
Mhm.
if we win the first game, which I think we will because they're gonna have a little shell shock and we're gonna be hungry, I think
Mhm.
it's Wolves in 5.
Okay. You called it the Gabe special, and you convinced me into it. I'm going to go Wolves in 6 as well,
What were
because
you thinking? What were you thinking?
I was
7?
I was thinking Wolves in 7,
Oh, that's
but
too.
then
You
then
can't
I
do
was
that.
thinking how hype Oklahoma City gets for a
Yeah,
game 7 to go to the
yeah.
NBA final. So I'm going to say the Wolves get it done at home. Wolves in 6, get it done.
I
You'd
like
love
it.
to see it.
I
So
like it.
anyway, Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, let's keep doing this all the way to the championship.
Absolutely. And we are going to be covering it as much as we can. We're going to try to do a podcast after every game. I can't guarantee it because of
Right.
schedules and just life and stuff like that. Because, I mean, they're going every other day. So they're rushing here to the finals. But make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And to make sure to check out 612Ts. The link is in the description. Use promo code RUN30 at checkout for 30% off your first purchase. It's the best way you can help out the channel, and tell a friend as well. And as always, go Wolves.